2 playthrough. Video number 1, the continuation, because this will be a direct continuation of Soul Reaver, and you will very easily be able to tell that it is that because it starts with the final video that you saw in the first game. So anyway, we're going to move right into this because this is a fairly longer video than I normally like to try to do, so we're going to move right into it. EOS Interactive and Crystal Dynamics. I wanted to catch that in there this time a little better. And we're going to move right into starting the game, and it'll bring us right into a cinematic. And it's a little small, but I'm sorry, I couldn't really do anything about it.
At last. I must say I'm disappointed in your progress. I imagined you'd be here sooner. Tell me, did it trouble you to murder your brothers?
Did it trouble you when you ordered me into the abyss?
Eternity is relentless, Raziel. When I first stole into this chamber centuries ago, I did not fathom the true power of knowledge. To know the future, Raziel. To see its paths and streams tracing out into the infinite. As a man, I could never contain such forbidden truths. But each of us is so much more than we once were. Do you not feel with all your soul how we have become like gods? As such, are we not indivisible? As long as a single one of us stands, we are legion. Our futures are predestined. Mobius foretold mine eons ago. We each play out the paths fate has written for us. Free will is an illusion.
I found the tomb of Sarafan, King. How could you profane a priest by turning him into a vampire?
How could I not? One must keep his friends close, Raziel, and his enemies even closer. Who better to serve me than those whose passion transcends all notions of good and evil?
The Sarafan were saviors, defending Nazgul from the corruption that we represent. My eyes are open, Cain. I find no nobility in the unlife you rudely forced on my unwilling corpse.
There you go, Raziel.
You may have uncovered your past, but you know nothing of it. You think the Sarafan were noble, altruistic? Don't be simple. Their agenda was the same as ours. This is not where or how it ends. Fate promises more twists before this drama unfolds completely.
And Raziel follows after him. It's going to move right into another cutscene, so I'm not really going to be able to say much on that. Hopefully I'll have time afterwards. It's like the very beginning of the game.
Redeemer and Destroyer, Pawn and Messiah. Welcome, time-span soul. Welcome to your destiny.
Right, that's where Soul Reaver 1 ended off.
Where am I? Is the usual question. In your case, when might be more apt.
Very well, you old snake. If you'd prefer I use my bare hands,
This is completely unexpected. This orb disables our vampire enemies, leaving them helpless and incapacitated. Strangely, it seems to have the same effect on that peculiar weapon of yours. But you must believe me. I mean you no harm.
You can drop the benevolent facade, Mobius. I know who and what you are. I should kill you where you stand.
Perhaps you should, my boy. But you don't.
Are you so certain of that, Mobius?
My role as Time Guardian affords me a certain level of omniscience, Raziel. No, you don't kill me. That honor belongs to your maker, Cain, some 30 years from now.
You two are a pair. You're just as fatalistic as he is.
Death comes for us all, Raziel. It's just a matter of time.
How is it that you know my name? We have never met.
On the contrary, Raziel, I know you very well. And it grieves me to see how cruelly Cain has used you. I knew you when you were one of the Sarafan Brotherhood, Raziel. We were even close.
Oh, please.
Fortunately, you need not love me now to be my ally.
Are we within the stronghold of the Sarafan priesthood?
Yes, but the glorious days of the Sarafan have long since passed, I'm afraid. This is a more cynical and indecorous age. My mercenary army now inhabits this stronghold. We strive to honor the memory of the Sarafan with our own humble crusade.
Is this the vampire Vorador?
Yes, the scourge of the Circle, the most depraved and decadent example of his whole degenerate race. He slaughtered 6 of my fellow Guardians as they cowered, defenseless, in this room.
And you somehow survived this massacre?
I and 2 others. The Circle was devastated. Only we 3 were spared.
How convenient. You'll forgive me if I don't naively devour every scrap of information you toss me. You have a reputation for deceit.
And who has slandered me so? Your malefactor, Cain? The one who betrayed and destroyed you? Our common enemy? Consider the source before you judge me too harshly. We'll forget about rekindling our old friendship then. But consider an alliance based on our common ground. We both want Cain dead.
I don't want to meddle in this, old man. I know all about your sordid little schemes, but you're simply out of your depth on this one.
You underestimate me, Raziel. Let me show you. Even now, Cain is lying in wait for you, unaware that I've snatched you out of the time stream and brought you here to me. See how he lingers at the very pillars he is destined to destroy, foolishly confident that he has eluded your grasp.
The pillars are still standing in this time.
Yes, Raziel. They are the embodiment of the divine force which preserves the life of our world. We who serve the pillars maintain their delicate balance, and Cain is destined to be the fulcrum upon which that balance turns. I believe you have already endured the wasteland wrought by his terrible, selfish decision. Cain's very existence is a cancer upon this world. As long as he lives, all of Nosgoth, you may never again be human.
I don't know why it breaks at that point.
But you can re-embrace the essence of your humanity and the nobility of your Sarafan heritage. Go to him, Raziel, and end this. But first, you will need to find your way out of the stronghold, and in this, I'm afraid I cannot help you. My soldiers will not understand your appearance here. They will try to kill you. You needn't fear them, of course. They're no match for you.
No match.
Try to keep the casualties to a minimum. But do what you have to do.
It's a twisted dude.
All great movements require a few arbiters.
Very twisted dude.
Alone now, I surveyed my surroundings and noticed a second time streaming chamber. Its entrance identical to the first, but with one distinction. That crystal was significant, but how? I had not yet discovered.
There's a lot more explanation going on in this one. You'll see that he kind of guides the player. Like with that, there's another stream. There's a gem above it. I wonder what that's for. It's really to give the player an idea of what they need to be aware of. Whereas in the first game, you kind of just were, hey, you can go through grates now. And then you had to find the ones you had to find or to get through and everything. But there's a lot of changes in play and stuff here, so I'm very awkward through almost most of my play of this. I haven't finished the game yet at this point, but I mean, granted, you're watching the beginning of it, but I mean, as in where I actually am. I still haven't beat it, and I'm still awkward in my gameplay. But anyway, what did you see at the beginning there? Well, Cain threw Raziel into a pit. A water pit kind of thing, and
throughout the stronghold I discovered evidence of my former nobility and my life as a Sarafan priest. This was the heritage so foully stolen from me when Cain raided my sacred crypt and defiled me.
I'll say quick history. The Sarafan were a group of men who killed off vampires. Cain took those bodies of those men and turned them into vampires, which Raziel in Soul Reaver 1 found out and figured out that he was someone who was changed into a vampire that was a Seraphim. So he sees the Seraphim as a noble and true race, which you saw in the video there, that was cleansing the land of the purge, or the scourge of the vampires that were in it. And so for the storyline, Raziel sees himself as someone who has been manipulated already into this situation that he didn't want to be in anyway, that he was someone who was trying to destroy the vampires. And Cain, he clearly has an agenda that's beyond our understanding at this point in the game. Same thing with Mobius. He also has his own agenda, and you can tell he doesn't really have 100%.
Away from the influence of Mobius's cursed staff, I could feel the strength of the Soul Reaver slowly returning. If that orb was as debilitating to vampires as it was to the blade, it gave Mobius a powerful advantage over his enemies. I finally understood how Mobius's crusade could decimate the vampires so successfully. If he could immobilize his enemies, they were at his mercy. But why, I wondered, would the staff have any effect on the Reaver?
Alright, so that was kind of an important moment there, him realizing that the staff affects the Reaver and everything. So many cutscenes.
A strange sensation crept over me. An indescribable feeling of displacement, a sense of vertigo, as reality itself appeared to warp and bend around me. The disturbance seemed to emanate from the sanctuary's furthest chapel. As I cautiously approached, the sense of dislocation intensified with each step. So this was the tomb of the beloved King William the Just.
He was in Blood Omen
here as the martyr and catalyst of Mobius's crusade. I was reminded of Cain's journey as a fledgling vampire. How Mobius coerced him to travel back in history and assassinate William.
All of that is Blood Omen.
Thus igniting a genocidal hatred of vampires among the citizens of Nosgoth. And here I discovered the source of the displacement. The Soul Reaver itself, laid out like a holy relic, and broken, apparently in the battle between William and Cain. I had not thought such a thing was possible, until, of course, Cain shattered the blade against me when he tried to strike me down. Thus, the captive spirit inhabiting the Reaver was released, and binding itself to me, became my symbiotic weapon. And so the Reaver met its former self, still imprisoned in this corporeal shell. I watched, mesmerized, as the Wraith blade uncoiled itself and snaked down the length of the physical blade, embracing its twin, its mirror self. The Reaver's long dormant spirit was now fully aroused, and for the first time, I felt the true presence of this other entity, willful, ravenous, and deranged from thousands of years of imprisonment. The Reaver was now in command, and I, now merely its helpless host, felt my soul being leached to restore the blade. But the Reaver knew better than to destroy its host, and just as I neared the brink of oblivion, the blade released its hold on me. As I recovered, I realized we were now bound together in a fragile alliance. The Reaver no longer merely my symbiotic weapon, but a sentient parasite competing for control.
This changes the way the Reaver works in the game.
Is this your trap?
How mine? Don't forget it was Cain who led you here, not I. While you curse me, the only soul in Nosgoth ready to guide and assist you, Cain laughs at our folly and revels in your
These
dismay.
blades now called
Big old
in
sausage
sinister
hands.
embrace have inspired terror in the hearts of creatures far more durable than you, old man. Bound together as they are, I can only imagine what they could do to your soul's fragile shell.
Raziel, I beg you to stay your hand. This was none of my doing. I have sought only to aid you in your righteous quest.
Why, you're trembling, Mobius. Has your confidence abandoned you? You seem to have made a fatal error by leaving your precious staff behind. Is that where all your courage comes from?
Raziel's very
Listen to me,
confident right here.
You don't know what you're doing. I have taken an enormous risk by appearing here before you, so defenseless, yet eager to prove my good intentions. If there's anything left of the Seraphim in you, you won't do this. While you threaten me, your true enemy eludes you.
Don't concern yourself with Cain, old man. He'll join you in hell soon enough. As you said, death comes for us all.
Yes, the wheel of fate demands it.
What did you say?
The wheel of fate. The inexorable cycle of death and rebirth to which all men are compelled. We serve the same God, Raziel. To strike me down would be striking God's own attendant. And I don't believe even you would take that risk.
He gets way too cocky right there.
Tired of your games, Mobius. Now that I know you fear me, I needn't concern myself with you. Cain is waiting for me.
Go then, Raziel.
And the
Seek Cain out
the
and destroy him.
sword just
In the
disappears
name
from
of
his
the one
hand.
God we both serve. You, who were once a Seraphim priest, murdered, profaned, destroyed, and reborn again from his mercy. You are now most powerfully equipped to be his agent, his instrument of restoration and retribution.
My own vengeance is motivation enough.
So I've mentioned this before. One of the
my
things.
soul.
Sorry.
You almost had me, my little blue assassin.
Ah, twisted
That'll
dude.
be the one and only chance you get. I assure you of that.
I could now summon the blade at will, regardless of my strength.
That's how it
But
changed
once
it.
summoned, the blade's ravenous appetite could not be contained. It devoured the souls of its victims, and if I allowed it to become over-aroused, the Reaver would now turn its hunger on me.
Alright, so when you use it, it gets more and more
So this was
powerful.
the legendary
Oh,
young
cutscenes!
Baldwin, reputed to have been the most ancient and diabolical vampire to have ever existed. According to folklore, he lived high in the cliffs of Nosgoth's northern mountains and preyed mercilessly on the defenseless villagers below. His reign of terror ended when the Seraphim finally hunted him down and tore his throbbing heart from his still-living body. This relic came to be known as the Heart of Darkness, and was supposedly imbued with the power to restore vampiric unlife. The Sarafan therefore guarded it carefully, lest the heart fall into the hands of their enemies. But I wondered, could Janos Ordren truly have been as monstrous as depicted here? Or was this merely artistic license by the Sarafan, who sought to lionize themselves by demonizing their darkest enemy?
Alright, so Soul Reaver works differently, okay? You attack, and it gets more enraged in a way, okay? And then if you attack too much, it kills you. It brings you back to the spectral realm. So you have I can use it, but I don't get my souls too. It takes the souls of the people that you're fighting. So you don't get access to them. Another cutscene.
Strange how my history came full circle. This chapel, I realized, was a memorial to my former Sarafan brethren and myself. All of us martyred here. And then so cruelly profaned by Cain when he imposed his gift on our noble corpses. For the first time, I beheld the image of my Sarafan self, memorialized here among my fallen comrades. It tortured me to see how noble and pure I had been, and what a vile phantasm I had become. And a profound sense of injury, of loss and betrayal welled up in me, so overwhelming I could barely contain it. All I wanted at this moment was to find Cain and destroy him.
Alright, so from the first game, he's still bent on revenge because of what Cain did to him in his death of his first life, but also in his vampiric life, where Cain had actually killed him when he seemingly surpassed him in his evolution of being a vampire. And all of the men around the room, if you haven't played Soul Reaver, these are all spoilers. I'm pretending you know everything beyond the past at this point, or I'm giving that information. So all of those are the enemies, the bosses that you fight, but they are changed, twisted, and messed up in that as well. And everything here is culminating, is bringing Soul Reaver and Blood Omen all together and really opening that up.
And for the first time beheld Nosgoth in its former glory. The land overflowed with abundant life and vitality. And I knew with certainty then that the world I had left behind was nothing more than the corpse of Nosgoth, a lifeless husk bled dry by the corruption of Cain's parasitic empire. This was the fragile world Cain sacrificed to preserve his own petty life and ambition, heedless of the profound cost. The sight only deepened my resolve. I sensed that the pillars lay to the northwest, and if Cain truly waited to confront me there, I would not disappoint him.
Alright, so he's moving in a direction. He wants to get to Cain. He wants to deal with this revenge that he has in his heart. And but he also is kind of fighting the free will and choice and what it is that he's seeing from Mobius and the time stream.
Arcane landmark, a wisp of the Reaver's energy was drawn.
This is another one of those explanation moments where it's giving you a better idea of what's going on. This is not a save point. I'm totally talking over him because who cares what he's saying. But this is not a save point. This is more of a continuation point. Like if you were to die in the spectral realm, you would go to the last point that you went that the thing flew up into there. Okay, that's all that is. And what's terrible is when I first played through this again, I got to that point and I said, oh, finally a save point. And I quit the game and I had to start from the beginning again. Because I don't have a whole lot of time to play most of the time, so I was like, this one has so much more difficult to grab save points and get to save points and everything else. Even though in the first one it was annoying because you could save anywhere, but you would start from the very beginning. And here I'm trying to get a better feel of the point here, the system here. You just kind of get a feel of the fact that I'm still not even comfortable with the controls and everything in the game. So, anyway, I see this
I
door.
did not yet possess the means to unlock this barrier. But this
In the first game,
enigmatic symbol was
you wouldn't have known that. You would have just sat there and beat on it for hours. And been like, let me try to get into it. Nah, that doesn't work, doesn't work. And so now he just tells you, I can't do this yet. So we're looking around. We're just trying to figure out how to get to the pillars. That's pretty much the goal here. Get to the pillars, confront Cain. I'm making this more complicated than it needed to be with what I'm playing here, but I was trying to look around and see the area. Yeah, I saw that stone, and I thought maybe if I threw something at it, it would do something. And then I decided, I'll just throw it over there so I'll have it in case I fall in the water. Honestly, I think I fall enough and mess around enough that I totally forgot that I threw that. I'm trying to remember what these were for. I'm not going to give that away right now. I'll let that kind of happen on its own. But I did end up remembering later what they were for, but not at this point. Couldn't remember what the gems were for, or those parts there. I was having a very difficult time with swimming. The controls, because the controls change enough where, like, first of all, on the computer, now I'm able to use my mouse and the keyboard at the same time. And you can go left, forward, and all this other stuff. So it was very weird going from where I could only use the keyboard to play and was used to that. And then I had some computer issues and other things that I was dealing with. So that's why when I'm swimming, most of this beginning part, it is really, really awkward. And I'm like running into walls and turning around and flipping and everything else. Because I just couldn't quite get it figured out on how to move around and everything like I wanted to. So anyway, I came back up to this point, and I was hoping I could jump around to get to that thing over there. For whatever reason, I don't know why I didn't look at it as, oh, I can just jump up to the ledge over there. So finally I did that. That's what's happening here. There we go.
These ancient obelisks were mysteriously attuned to my spiritual essence. By simply touching the symbol,
all right,
I
so
could safely preserve an imprint of my soul, and thus create a milestone to which I could return when weary, and from which I could
if you
resume
played
my
Blood
journey.
Omen, you would recognize this kind of obelisk thing. In Blood Omen, it was a red obelisk that went up, and in this, it looks more like the Soul Reaver does, which makes sense for Raziel. And so these are the save points in the game to be able to save your game. And they are few and far between. You pretty much have to try and save as cleverly as possible. And not only that, you need to save and go get through whole areas before you can deal with situations in that. Sorry, my daughter just came in the room. Here. Alright, now go. Get out so I can keep talking on this, baby girl. Thank you. Alright, so this is pretty much going to be the end of the video for today.
While I had only just escaped
I'll let
the
him
stronghold,
explain this.
I sensed that in time my journey would return me full circle to this place. Infiltrating the fortress, however, would be no small feat. The balcony that had provided my escape was now well beyond my reach, leaving this massive gateway as the only means of entry. The gates were sealed, but like the time-streaming chamber I had seen earlier, their operation was undoubtedly linked to that odd crystal mounted above the entrance.
Alright, so that's going to pretty much be it for this video. Next time we will move into continuing on to the pillars and meeting with Cain. And anyway, we'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed this first one with us of Soul Reaver 2. Seeing the continuation of 1 into 2. And I'll see you guys next time. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever you guys want to do. Goodbye. You want to say goodbye? Here, get you up here. Say goodbye. Bye.
Are you a nerd? Or a geek? Or even a dork? Like me? join the nerds at Talkin' Nerdy on Facebook. www.facebook.com/groups/Talkin' Nerdy. TALKINNERDY. See you there, nerds.